Hello and welcome everyone. We will get started in next 1 minute. And before we begin, a couple of housekeeping checks. If you can hear me clearly, I request you to please type in yes in your chat box. And throughout this presentation, we encourage you to interact with us by typing in your questions and comments using the questions pane on your right side of the screen. We will try to answer as many questions as possible in our Q&A section, which is immediately after this presentation. We are getting lots of yeses, so looks like we are all set. So first of all, on behalf of Harbinger Systems, a warm welcome to all of you and good morning and good afternoon. I'm Mandar Kulkarni, Marketing Manager at Harbinger Systems and your host for today. I'm pleased to welcome all of you for today's webinar, which is Healthcare IT, Role of EDI in Affordable Care Act Reform. I have with me Mahesh Kumar Kharade. He is Associate Architect at Harbinger Systems.
And Mahesh with over 7 years of experience in design, development and enterprise systems across multiple domains like healthcare, retail, e-learning and business intelligence. He is our in-house healthcare domain expert. He has worked on multitude of challenging projects with technologies ranging from JavaScript frameworks, UI libraries, PHP and many more. So I will hand over the presentation to Mahesh. Over to you, Mahesh.
Thanks, Mandar. In today's session, we'll quickly go over some of the key challenges in healthcare IT, and we'll also look at some of the solutions or the implementations that we have done in the recent past to address those. So to start with the challenges, the first one I thought of putting together is on data size. Data size has been a center of discussion for most of healthcare management systems, and I think it's there from early days as well. As this problem is not new, there have been multiple successful solutions and implementations in place for it. Though I think most of EHR systems that are built in the past or that exist today may not be able to handle the capacity of data created by the current electronic medical tools. Let me give an example for this. Average data size for one patient for 1 year time frame has crossed 80 megabytes today. This number may not sound right to some of us, but let's take a closer look at this in reality. Let's try to further break down this 80 MB into the specific segment. So to start with, first 3 to 4 MB can be broken into the form of text data, which is generated across multiple transactions over the year. I think now that would sound more realistic, right? The remaining 76 MB is generated in the digital format by these electronic medical tools in the form of either images or reports that one would have. With this calculation, if a system has to store and process data for 1 million patients, overall data size would be in terabytes. To make situation more complex, this data is growing every day as well. So you can imagine the amount of old and new data which will be generated. Moving on, next challenge that I see is about the real-time reporting and real-time access for this data. I think data has no value unless it can be accessed and actionable information can be derived from it. Very commonly used models or strategies in some of the EHR systems is that reporting would mostly in the static format. So reports are like predefined, or in some of couple of last year, 2 or 3 years, certain BI tools are catching up and people have started using it for sort of real-time analysis, but that has its own set of limitations. And I think, as I said, I mean, one can truly use the data if it is available for monitoring in real time, and even the access has to be quick on the huge data set that is building up. And the results has to be obtained within a fraction of seconds, which BI tools are not able to cope up with. Moving on, data security. I think this has been an integral part of any healthcare system. Challenge here has been an ability to strike a balance between adequately protecting the confidentiality and integrity of the patient information, and at the same time also need to ensure ready access to the data to the authorized personnel as well. Now, from the regulation standpoint, there are fines if the plan do not comply with the security standards, and these fines can be imposed from $100 to $50,000 per violation, and up to $1.5 million per calendar year under the fine heading. Moving on, compliance management. I think with evolving laws and regulations, compliance management becomes tricky and time-consuming for healthcare organizations. Another important factor in compliance management is cost of implementing a new system or revamping existing systems for new standards, which is getting higher and higher. As these compliance rules either keeps changing frequently or there are new additions almost every year, it's really not practical to revamp the system for every update. Rather, it's time to look for a more flexible implementation in this space. Next is about interoperability. I think interoperability is something that has been desired for a long time in the healthcare, which would eventually result into an easy access to health-related information that is stored in heterogeneous systems, irrespective of the geographical location. It would also help in reduction of medical errors. Medical errors are of a great concern to healthcare because they are the 6th leading cause of deaths in hospitals. With interoperability, disparate computer systems can understand both structure and content of the external information. It would significantly also reduce the healthcare cost. The healthcare industry is striving towards developing an environment of interoperability amongst healthcare information systems, where the healthcare data can move freely, be accessed and analyzed by various systems. And the last one that I have on the list is transition to the new standards. I think every time there is a change or an update to EDI standard, basic questions or set of questions starts popping out. For example, is your system ready for the transition? If not, then it can have major impact on the receivables and claims processing, which would result in delayed revenue collection. It also means there is a possibility of losing out on the federal incentive programs.
Okay, thank you, Mahesh, for explaining us the current state of challenges in healthcare IT. And I'm sure the CIOs and CTOs in the audience are also well aware of these kind of issues. And like me, would be keen to see the other side of the coin now, where we discuss about how Harvind Systems devise innovative solutions with the right technology in overcoming these challenges.
Right, Mandar. I think let's take a look at our first case, which would probably take us there, or maybe a starting point for it. Here we have an organization which wanted a quick access to their constantly growing database, thus in a way resonating with our first challenge of growing data as well as the real-time access. So in this case, an implementation we have done for a customer who is a startup ISV. They wanted to develop a SaaS application for hospitals and medical institutions. Important thing here to note is that this ISV has acquired a company with huge database of healthcare related records stored using legacy database with size more than 500 GB. So specific consideration for legacy data handling is needed, and size of data is going to make overall implementation more complex. With huge set of existing users from legacy system, SaaS platform is to be developed for reporting but for supporting increasing user base. With given data size and user base, big data technology stack was an obvious way to go for. But as it's there to solve some of the size issues, system is also supposed to handle patients and hospital staff activities in real-time analytics and queries, which needed a special consideration as well. In a way, this relates to first couple of challenges we have discussed few minutes back. Here is a list of key challenges to be addressed. Quick response time for every user query from user interface. Being a SaaS-based application, system stores data for millions of patients. Every record contains more than 500 fields with complex structure. Further, there is a need to support quick lookup using any field from the patient record. This is where the real-time analytics and querying capabilities are coming into picture. Let's take a look at a high-level architecture or a technical approach for this particular system. To start with, there are two main data sources. A legacy system with huge existing data to be imported into the new system, so older user base can be migrated into the new system. Second is for new patients as well as day-to-day updates to the existing data record in the system. Due to data size requirements, big data solution has been opted as a data storage option. A NoSQL storage option like Edge-based cluster is used to store the data records. This has addressed data size aspect very well. But due to number of fields on every record and complexity of data structure, search queries will not return results in desired time frame. Being a NoSQL database, we knew that the missing link here was data indexing options. Solution was if data can be indexed while storing, lookups will be very quick. This is where we have integrated Solr indexing in overall system architecture. So with this, while saving or updating data in the DB store, same is passed to the indexing engine so related indexes can be refreshed. Use of message queues has ensured that indexing can run on separate process or a separate node if needed. So it will not impact the main application in any way. To summarize, here are some of the highlights of this approach. Distributed processing of patient data using messaging queues. Then indexing process runs on a separate indexing server in the background. Call to index respective data sets based on inserts or updates. Reference to data location is getting indexed, so search becomes two-step process where first find the reference and then fetch the actual data record from the database. I hope this gives insights into how latest technology has helped us address some of the pressing issues. From customer perspective, this implementation has resulted into a system that could support faster search and high throughput. Use of NoSQL DB resulted into additional support for unstructured schema model, enabling system to process billions of records very fast to generate analytical reports on patient records and disease traits, which were almost impossible to implement using legacy implementation on commodity hardware.
Great. So this would save a lot of precious time to access the critical information. And I'm sure many healthcare information systems would definitely use big data technologies in the near future to overcome their growing data challenge and see great results. However, apart from growing data, the regulatory laws governing healthcare information and are still being heavily debated and are still in evolving mode. So, Mahesh, how one can ensure that systems implemented with big investments still fulfill their compliance needs in a frequently changing environment? I mean, how does one ensure that CMS compliance?
Okay, let me walk you through the next case or the project work that I have in the session, which would provide insights into some of the challenges related to the compliance management. This system is there to streamline and automate the management, identification, and resolution of compliance exceptions within the CMS regulated Medicare industry. Here is a list of key challenges that needs to be addressed by this application. Manual process for understanding over few hundreds of business rules for compliance management. These rules are published in a plain text which then needs to be analyzed and mapped to a data model of the individual system. As these rules are superset, not every single rule will be applicable for every plan. So there is a need to develop a customizable and flexible model to facilitate varied customer needs and frequently changing compliance rules at the same time. Let's take a look at the high-level technical approach to address this need. To start with, these compliance rules needs to be applied against a wide range of input data sets. There are 10 different file formats needed to be supported to import related data into the system database. Implementing a format-specific import process would have been a time-consuming as well as costly choice. To speed up the implementation and reduce the implementation cost, ETL tool has been used. Once data import is done, next important aspect is the core business logic, that is business rules to be applied on the imported data set. This is where declarative rule definition was an option to look for, and decision table technology was a perfect solution. When rules are mapped to underlying data model, it can easily convert into a decision table. Now, decision table is maintained in a plain Excel file, so any business user can update it in case of new rules or updates to the existing rules. Excel version of the rule is converted into a DRL format, which is used by underlying library to execute conditions and actions specified in the given decision table. As the rules to be applied on multiple data records, batch processing was implemented to operate on multiple records at a time, as well as reduce overall database hits to optimize the performance of the system. Message to implementation helped in separating database updates from rule processing, resulting into highly responsive process. Once compliance results are stored in the database, analytical queries, ad hoc reporting, or basic predefined reports can be easily generated using the conventional techniques. To summarize, here are some of the highlights of this approach. Use of ETL tool and jobs for simplified and fast implementation of input process for a variety of data sources. Use of decision table for converting complex business rules into easy to maintain Excel decision table format. Rule repository in the form of DRL files to avoid runtime compilation of the rules. Batch processing to operate on multiple records effectively. Message to implementation to upload the database updates and save data in asynchronous call to improve the performance. I think this gives insights into how use of right technology options help in developing a system that identifies, corrects, and achieves maximum compliance for healthcare plans. Also, automated system audits and timely notifications led to increase in workforce efficiency.
Okay, that was innovative and yet simple. compliance management system which is fully automated and with easily customizable rules according to customer needs. Great. Now Mahesh, with major regulatory deadlines approaching, like transition from ICD 9 to ICD 10 and from RAPS to EDPS, and with healthcare data being largely unstructured and diverse, and everyone will agree that this transition is by no means easy, right? So could you throw some more light on how we can leverage newer technologies to effectively address these challenges?
Sure, Mandar. I think my third example is to discuss exactly the same thing. It's a solution that we implemented some time ago for handling EDI 837 data format. The requirement was, in order to remain compliant, medical advantage organizations must have a solution and the processes in place to exchange encounter data from healthcare plans and data from certified professional coders with CMS. Plans must have the ability to receive, store, submit, and process all encounter data in a format and via a protocol specified by CMS. This relates back to the challenge we discussed about supporting transition to new standard from old one. Here is a list of key challenges to be addressed in this implementation. First of all, the environment is characterized by often imperfect source data due to elements such as claims communication breakdowns, disorganized provider tables, and incomplete source data originating from a chart review. Further, the 837 format is very complex and the CMS requirements are far more extensive than that exist for the current risk adjustment systems. This volume and complexity results in more opportunity for errors, exceptions, and rejects of submitted diagnosis scores. So there are multiple aspects to be looked at. That is, there is a need to map data from old data model into new data model or a new schema. Secondly, volume and the complexity of data needs to be supported, and then remaining business logic to be supported without any compromise on overall system performance. So how to do it? Let's take a look at the high-level technical approach for this. From data source angle, there are two main options. One is new standard to be supported, and then there is existing data either in the custom format or in the older format. In order to support both at the same time, a generic preprocessor is implemented in the system. Preprocessor maps old data format to a new format, taking care of migration, and final data output is as per the new standard. Once data is available in the database, validation process runs through validation initiator. Due to volume and the complexity, processing time at the record level is considerably high, and there is implicit need for horizontal scaling. In order to achieve this, distributed worker model has been implemented. Workers can register for a work queue at runtime and start processing available data records. With this implementation, scheduler can easily add or remove worker nodes to distribute process load horizontally. Results are then saved in the database using aggregator component, where currently single node is used as per the data size requirements. But architecture also supports distributed nodes for result aggregation as well. In order to optimize worker implementation, batch processing technique has been applied to multiple operations or the validations, so it can be executed at once. To summarize, here are some of the highlights of this approach. Highly scalable architecture with an ability to add or remove worker nodes at runtime. Step-by-step implementation for multiple validations, flexibility to plug in or plug out validations as per the requirements, changes or customizations. ability to map data from older or custom formats into standard specific schema by means of preprocessor. With that, let's revisit all three implementations we just looked at. We can definitely conclude that we have technology options available to solve almost every challenge that we discussed at the start of the session. Only we need to define a correct approach and combination of technologies available. To quickly recap on these case studies, I would say big data solutions are a way forward for handling growing data sites, provided right set of complementing technologies are used based upon the business scenarios. Second one, frequently changing compliance rules can be handled using technology like decision tables, which enables defining rules outside the code. For complex, multi-step and time-consuming processes, distributed and asynchronous processing is a good strategy to achieve desired system performance. I think that's all I had to share. Over to Mandar.
Wow, that was a great session, and thank you, Mahesh. And I'm sure the audience too is pleased with such a rich and insightful session. Now we'll be taking some questions from the audience. And before that, I will remind everyone once again, if you have any questions, queries, please type in the questions field. And if due to time constraints we are not able to cover your questions in today's session, we will definitely send you the Q&A document covering answers to all the questions that are raised in today's session. So, could you please type your questions in the question screen? Okay. Great. Okay, here's the first question. Okay, with reference to first case, could you please go to first case?
Sure.
Can Solar be used for real-time analytics and summary reports? That's what they want to ask.
Can you repeat the question for me, please?
Yeah. With reference to first case, can Solar be used for real-time analytics and summary reports?
Okay, so the question is about how this particular system with use of Solar would help us solve the real-time analytics or summary reporting needs. I think Solar will not be a solution for it, but let me give you some more insight into this system. This system or the walkthrough that I conducted was basically targeting use of Solar or indexing technology along with the NoSQL database. So I didn't cover the other things that are there in the system like real-time analytics or summary reports. And for this, we have used MapReduce capabilities from the Hadoop, which can help us address or solve these requirements. With the help of MapReduce jobs, we can have a process that would let us create these summary reports when needed, and then user can access those through the application. I hope that answers the question.
Sure. Thanks, Mahesh. Should we take another question?
Sure.
Okay. Here you go. In case of multiple validations, can you share some more details on handling of member and provider validations in distributed processing?
Okay, I think it would relate to case 3. Let me go there. Okay, yeah, I think I had it there on the diagram, but probably I missed to mention about it. Thanks for bringing that up. So the question is more about to define something around the validations or how we handled it. So yes, If we look at the list, and in the validations, there are first three are very straightforward because those are more of a business logic or something that you can code. But if you look at the validation about a member or a provider, now this is something where the data lookup comes into picture. So whether you do it on a single node or you do it using a distributed processing, it is still a challenge because you still need to hit a database and do the lookup and then the validation on that member or a provider. So then would multiprocess or the multiple workers help us solve the problem? No. And this is where the caching or in-memory computing would help us address these needs, which we have implemented as a part of this solution, where we have used Redis implementation to bring in all the data related to member and provider in memory, so it can be looked up to at runtime by these worker threads.
Okay, thanks Mahesh. So I think considering time, we can, I think, take one question, one last question.
Okay.
The next question is, can you share some more details on tools and technology options available for rule management? For example, what are options other than Excel format, maybe spreadsheets they want to ask?
Okay, okay. So in this implementation, there was a specific requirement where we needed an ability where business users had some insights into the data model. Now, we will definitely have a situation where business users are even not aware of the data model or would find it difficult to understand the data model that is there in the system. And they are aware of more onto the business terminology than the system implementation. So in such cases, I think there are management solutions for these rules that are available. If we have to refer to those, they are referred as BRMS systems, which is business rule management systems, which are picking up in the market nowadays. And there are a couple of very good implementations available as an open source implementation option as well. And other than Excel format, these tools provide an ability to maintain the rules repository in the online application manner. So one need not worry about how to store these rules or how to manage the versioning of the rule changes and things like that. Also, it lets us define these rules through a web interface with a step-by-step wizard. So if it's a business user who doesn't understand the underlying data model, they can easily go to the step-by-step wizard and define the business rules using it. So that would help simplify the management of those rules to a next level, as well as give an ability to create these rules in multiple formats.
Okay, thanks Mahesh for answering those questions. Considering time, we have to stop here. Again, today's webinar is being recorded and everyone will receive an email with a link to view the recording of the webinar along with the Q&A document. And finally, I request everyone to please fill in a short feedback survey form that will pop up on your screen once you exit this webinar. It won't take long, but will surely provide us important insight on how to improve and what topics to choose from in the near future. So with this, we conclude our session today. And once again, thank you for your patience and joining us, and wish you a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.